Unlike the Giants, the Jets and the Giants both had very, very rough seasons, but there is at least a palpable energy, a belief, a conviction that the Jets are moving in the right direction, while the Giants are trying to, hire the right people to get them in that direction. So let's figure out what the next step is for Gang Green. And we're joined by former All-Pro center. This guy was an absolute workhorse. He was terrific. No nonsense, low maintenance star. Big Nick Mangold. Nick, Tiki and Tierney here on The Fan. Welcome to our show. How you doing, bud?
Good. How you doing?
Doing well. I want to start with this. So you played with Mark Sanchez. A young Mark Sanchez, just the toolbox. Not that you guys had a good O-line or a really good defense. Just Mark Sanchez's tools compared to Zach Wilson's tools. How would they rate? How would they compare? Which is more favorable?
I think they're very similar, but I think that Zach has a stronger arm. That's what it appears to me. But I think at the early stages, I think Mark was a little bit more accurate. So, but at the same time, I think they're both guys that dive into the playbook. And so I think this offseason is going to be huge for Zach Wilson because, it was a crash course when he got drafted. Let's get through the summer, try to figure out this offense, and let's get through this rookie year. Trying to learn as much as we can, but trying to keep it simple to make it easy for him. This is where it really explodes. And this is where his ability to dive in that playbook and really take it all in and go deeper and not just the what he needs to do, the why. And if he can figure out the why, I think, he can get he can make those big steps that we need to see in year two.
Yeah. It felt like this year it was not a bunch of roller coasters, but it was some big ups and a big down Tennessee win. And you go really down low and it's like, oh God, we're not even right. And all of a sudden it starts to feel good again.
Bengals.
Yeah, exactly. How do you feel about this team after watching this last season? Obviously new coaching staff and lots of new talent, but how do you feel about this team?
I feel excited and encouraged. When I looked at it, and I don't remember the stat off the top of my head, but I believe that we had the most rookie starts in the NFL by, I think it was like 100 or something like that. So,
That's right.
It was a very young team that I think it needs to grow. And that's what they're doing. So, this offseason is going to be very important for them. But you did have those ups and downs. And, I think the big thing I know that they're going to be harping on this year in the offseason is the turnovers. You can't just have the stupid interceptions. Those are backbreaking. And so it is a roller coaster, but I am encouraged that, we're coming into this offseason with a good base and we have a bunch of money ready to go in the salary cap. And, we have 4 first-round picks or 4 picks in the first 2 rounds. So I think that's huge. And it's going to be a great opportunity for Joe Douglas to really put his fingerprint on this team.
Now, Nick, you guys had, at least when you were there, you had good offensive lines. Where do you spend these first 2 picks? BT saying go offense, defense. I'm saying all defense. Where do you like the Jets to pick? Because, 2 top 10s is it's exciting because you can choose whoever you want. You can almost go wherever you want. But at the same time, it's still a lot of pressure to pick 2 guys in the top 10.
Yeah, it definitely is. If you're going to go defense, I want that Micah Parsons. If you're going to get somebody on defense, I want somebody that's going to be able to come in and get those sacks for us. We haven't had a great pass rusher in a long time. And I'm not 100%, draft expert and can say, hey, this is who we need to go get. This guy from Alabama or whatever.
Yeah.
But I do know we need help getting after the passer. I'm an offensive lineman. I always say take an offensive lineman. That's just a given.
Yeah. No, listen, by the way, for the first time, I think in my entire life, and I've been a Jet fan for a long time, that I'm okay with taking a center with one of those top 2 picks in the top 10. Only the kid from Iowa. He's the only one who would be, who would fit the bill for me. So I know that I don't want to get – I know you're not watching film, Nick. I get that. You don't really – but I know you know about this kid just conceptually based on positional value, contract. Can you actually justify in the year 2022 taking a center in the top 10 if he's as good as we think this kid is?
Yeah, if he's as good as we think he is. I think, and that's one of the big things that the Jets have kind of an advantage here is being able to coach a Senior Bowl. They're going to be able to get a look at a bunch of these guys and get a good feel for them. So I think that's a huge help. Top 10. I believe I was a top 10 pick. I wasn't, but I'd like to believe
29,
it.
buddy.
I know, 29. So, I still would like to be the highest center pick for the Jets. But if it is as good as they say he is, and it's worth it. I would be afraid that someone's going to try to jump up and get him, because I think teams have put a little bit more emphasis on finding a center. And if this kid is the all-world center that they claim he is, I think he's going to go early.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's going to be teams looking to hop over for other teams to get up to snag him. I could see the Giants maybe taking him perhaps. And I think he's not a center, but I think it changed a little bit a couple of years ago when Nelson went 6th overall to the Colts. So as a guard, not as a tackle. So fundamentally, I think things have changed a little bit. And that is the great Nick Mangold, a terrific player for the Jets, all-pro center with us here on the show. Tiki and Tierney. All right, Nick. You got to get with Becton this offseason, dude. And I'm not here to shame anybody. I know he's a big man with with big bones and big muscle. He was supposed to be back after 5 or 6 weeks. The fact that he didn't play a snap after he went down in week 1 is incredibly disconcerting. I know the Jets have bit their tongue a little bit, but behind closed doors, because I know how it works, they're not happy. I know they're a little worried. They should be. What is the deal with Becton? I don't want you to, I'm not asking you what he needs to do this offseason, because that's easy. Get in shape and get healthy. But what was the story this year with Becton?
I don't know. And, unfortunately, that's why I don't like when teams or players say, yeah, I'll be back in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Because if you come back early, you're like, oh, we're just trying to show off. If it takes you 6 weeks, like, why did it take you so long to get healthy? So I hate when people put out the time frame. And I think being injured, having that injury, there might have been something else that doesn't have to be put into the injury report, because he's not practicing. He's already not playing. They can keep it a knee. So maybe he re-injured it. Maybe there was, issues there. I was disappointed that he wasn't able to get back, because when you see the 6 to 8 week timeline, like, all right, great, we'll have him for the, second half of the season, and see what improvements he's made. So, this is a big offseason for him too, where he can get healthy and prove to the Jets that he deserves to play. Because now,
Nick, let me ask you, do you think that he loves football?
I think so. I think he loves mauling people. I think my guess is he probably wasn't ready for the grind of the NFL. You're putting in 10-hour days. You have how it starts in April and it goes through January. Like, that's a long season. I think, rookie year, you kind of, you're just trying to take it all in. And so I think that probably hindered him a little bit, but I think he does love football.
Yeah, no, I think he does too. I think the NFL is a tough sport, as you know, Nick, and it doesn't come easy to everybody. How do you think the Jets are viewed around the league? I know back in your era it was a little bit different, but recently it's been lots of, Adam Gase, he gets clowned from moment one. You know what I mean? And like, how do you think the Jets are viewed?
I don't think they have a positive reputation at the moment, and I think everything kind of relies on, what we did in 1969 with the Super Bowl III.
Yep.
But I think in general, I was able to get to 2 AFC championships, but we didn't get the chip. We had a great season in 98. There's been little pockets, but that continued success. I mean, it's been 11 years now that we haven't made the playoffs. That's a long time. And so, I think fortunately, I think it is warranted. And, it takes, I think, a strong set of players that want to come in, players, coaches, front office, GM, say, all right, listen, we're changing this mindset. We're changing this perception. And I believe that's what Joe Douglas is doing. He got a 6-year contract, so he's got time. This is now into year 3 for him. And he's putting his stamp on this team, and it showed. It's a very young team. They're grinding through. I think Robert Saleh did as well as expected with that many rookies. And so I'm expecting big jumps for next year.
Yeah, and I asked that question, Nick, because I wonder, does New York become a destination at some point? You know what I mean? Like, where people say, I want to go play for the Jets because Robert Saleh is doing X, Y, Z, or Zach Wilson has hit this pinnacle. Like, do you see that happening sometime soon?
I mean, I hope so. That's where we are. We're in the hope world, because it is.
We're selling hope.
We're selling hope, but that's the
your
thing.
hope here.
So we have the greatest media market in the world, and unfortunately, because you have that, it also I think is a deterrent as well. Some guys like, do I want to play in that bright spotlight where I get hammered every day if I'm not doing perfectly? So it takes, I think it takes a special person to want to come here. And if you have Robert doing a fantastic job where guys are going out and say, listen, I'm talking to their agent, I want to go play for this guy. This is the guy that I want to go play for. I think we can get, a little ball rolling here.
Yeah, that's certainly the hope. And we're talking to Nick Mangold, former Jet. Really just an outstanding center, just an ultimate professional. Good guy as well, obviously, with us here on The Fan. Nick, they might be a year away from this. And you mentioned before there's a lot of money. There's a lot of draft equity, 4 picks in the top 40. So there's a lot of things the Jets can do. Hell, even Joe Douglas said the other day at his end of the year press conference that they could be in play for anything, meaning trades as well. They're probably a year away from being really, really competitive if they hit on some guys in this draft. But do you think it would make sense to go out and try to get somebody like Calvin Ridley, if for nothing else, to accelerate Zach Wilson's development? Or would you not do that because they're not really ready to win big yet?
No, I think you do. You got to get, I think, a veteran playmaker to come in and get Zach some confidence. Rookies are great and, can have all that potential and everything. You can see just how great like Jamar Chase did this year. But, there's only 1 or 2 of those. If you can go out and get a veteran guy that Zach can lean on. And I think that's what we need more of, around him, because he's got rookie and second year wide receivers, running backs. It's a young group. If you can get somebody to come and hopefully guide them and be productive, you can always bring in like some old man, backup quarterback or something. And he's going to try to lead the way. But you want somebody that's productive as well. So I think, wide receivers are tough because they can be divas, as we all know. But if he could get somebody in there that would be producing and showing them, hey, this is how the NFL works, this is how we do things, I think that would be a good thing.
Yeah, Corey Davis was supposed to be that guy, but he dropped a lot of passes. Then he got hurt. He missed a good chunk of the season. I'll tell you what, Nick, I have been, with this team for a long, long time, and I don't know that I've ever been quite as perplexed as I am with a single player as I am with Denzel Mims. How can you be 6'3", 220? Your film from Baylor shows contested plays on the sideline, hand-eye, hand-foot coordination. You run a 4.3, 5.40, and then it looks like you don't even know the playbook. What the hell happened to Denzel Mims?
I think you hit the nail on the head there. If you don't know the plays, you're not going to play. And so that's just how it is. And, I hope that there's someone talking in his corner, because after 2 years you want to be that playmaker and bring back what you were able to do, and I hope it's there, because I think this coaching staff has shown it's almost a no nonsense. Like, if you don't know the plays, we're not going to play you.
Yeah.
And that's my best guess.
I got to tell you, I hear you on that. I know you're not there every day, but if I'm Joe Douglas and I'm Robert Saleh on the Jets, I'm very reluctant to bring him back. Not because, you're trying to change a culture, eradicate this stench of losing that has swallowed up the franchise for far too long. And, when we saw right away here, at least we learned right away, he's not really doing much in camp, and guys are moving up on the depth chart. Maybe he's just not mentally into it. And because you didn't burn a first-round pick on him, myself here, Nick, just speaking for me, I'm probably looking to get rid of the guy this offseason. I mean, I just don't trust that he...
2 years and done?
The guy's a complete zero on the field.
2 years and bounce.
The guy runs out of the end zone and then drops the pass.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't know. He showed nothing.
Yeah.
Zero.
Hey, Nick, if I didn't know you, I would say that this is a cliche, what I'm about to ask you about. Big guy. Used to be 3+ bills.
Yeah, what do you weigh now?
Now
Nick?
he's
What do you
selling
got?
barbecue.
To what?
Tell us.
I don't look at the scale. That thing's dead. That thing's been dead to me.
Tell us about 74 BBQ. This is awesome. I know this is organic to you. This is real. You actually cook. We did an event where you were teaching guests how to cook on the grill. Tell us a little bit about this, Nick.
Yeah, so it's my barbecue sauce. I started making my own barbecue sauce probably 6 or 7 years ago when I really got into it. When I was done playing, it was kind of, looking, what can I do? And it was like, it'd be fun to, I entertained for 11 years. It'd be fun to sell something. And, and so, just to try it. And it's been a lot of fun. It's really neat. We have 2 flavors out right now, the OG and the spicy. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them here locally, in New Jersey. And we're trying to expand out. Finding distributors tough for small companies and the environment that we're in right now. But it's been a lot of fun. It was tricky when we first started because our first run of production came off at on March 23rd, 2020. So it's tough to sling sauce in a pandemic. But we're geared up for grilling season. I like to say grilling season's all year long. But I know some people wait to the spring and summer for some reason. So we're getting ramped up. We're gearing up. We're excited for a big year this year.
That's awesome. It looks like you have a lot of fun post-career, following you on social media, doing your thing. I know you're still part of the Jets. You go to London, right? You went to London, no? The Falcons game?
Yep. Yeah, I went to London. It was awesome. We actually took the whole family. We're obviously not that smart because we took 4 kids to Italy, and then to London, and then to France.
Wow.
Made a whole little European vacation out of it. And the London game was great. They played in the new Tottenham Stadium, which was, I think, a little bit designed with the NFL in mind. So, sitting in there, because I remember when I played in 2015 at Wembley, and you felt like you were in a soccer stadium. Like that's what it felt like. And, but sitting there in the stadium, watching the game this time, it felt like any American, stadium, except for the fact that you had 32 different jerseys all over the stadium.
So they're all like Kadarius Toney. They're all like Kadarius Toney. Let me ask you this before we let you go. It's Nick Mangold, former Jet great. He's with us here on Tiki and Tierney, WFAN. So Kadarius Toney, young receiver for the Giants. I'm not trying to make a big deal out of it, but I got to get your opinion. So if you're a veteran on the Jets, right? If you're still playing. And I'm trying to think, who was a young receiver that off the top of your head that was drafted while you were there?
Stephen Hill.
I was going to say, that didn't was Stephen Hill. All right. Stephen Hill, second round, Georgia Tech, another great second round pick. Stephen Hill is on social media, and he's wearing a bandana or a pandemic, a mask, and it's got a Browns logo, or it's got the 49ers logo. I don't know. As a Jet, what would you say about that? Because Kadarius Toney was wearing a Rams logo last night. What do you think about that? He's a Giant.
Yeah, I know. So this is where I feel like the NFL, it's very weird because, like, I grew up a Bengals fan. And so I don't have any Bengals gear, but I was definitely rooting for him this past weekend. So you do have your fandoms growing up. I think it's a bad look. I'm sure that someone in the organization is going to say, hey, listen, let's not do that. You can do that after you're done playing. But, it's tough because you grow up loving one team and then you get drafted and have no decision on where you're going. Like, oh, yeah, now you're supposed to be a fan of whatever team you're on. Like, it's very weird dynamic. And, it's lessened my overall fandom. Just because, like, I don't get sucked into anything because it could change quickly. You know, like, I know my kids are Jets fans, so they're going to be stuck there as Jets fans.
Nice.
But if one of them happens to go to the NFL and gets drafted by, let's say, Kansas City, I'm going to have to put the Kansas City hat on.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, I get that.
I know exactly that. I grew up
that.
a Redskins fan, and my loyalties had to change. It's 74. That's spelled out 74. 74bbq.com for Nick's barbecue sauce. Appreciate you, Nick.
Thank you guys so much for having me on.
Yeah, and you said you don't have any Bengals gear. I think Boomer's got about 30 fatheads of himself in his office, so but we'll have Boomer send you a little something of himself. I'm sure he's got a nice stock supply, okay?
Perfect. Send it on over.
You got it later, Nick. There he is, former Jet great. He was also. I mean, it is so nice, and it's been so long since I could sit down and just not worry about certain positions. All right, I got Brick on the left side. I got Nick in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I got David Harris at linebacker. Just get me back to that point where at least I know certain guys are showing up every single Sunday.